Good day, children. Hope you all are fine. Today, let us go on with Unit 5 Supplementary. A Day in 2889 of an American Journalist, written by Jules Verne. A very interesting lesson, children. Hope you will love it. This story speaks about the people of the 29th century who lives in fairyland, surfeited as they are with marvels. They are indifferent to the present of each new marvel. To them, all seems natural. So the story, children, it speaks about the people of 29th century. That is, after 1000 years, how the world will be. That is what the author, he narrates in this story, children. How far the technology will be developed, he speaks. Now, let us see one small gist, children. Let us see the introduction. Introduction is not here, but let me give you one small introduction of the lesson so that you will be thorough of the lesson. Here in this lesson, children, the author explains the life of Earth after 1000 years, and that the daily activities of a normal human will be assisted by machines. Okay, the story was written in 1889, predicting about 2889. After 1000 years, what will happen, he has predicted. And what he has predicted? He has predicted that after 1000 years, the daily activity of normal human will be assisted by machine. Machine will help the human, not human will help the other human. Machine will help the human. For example, the author envisions that traveling will be made easy. In this story, the office block of Earth Herald, the world's largest newspaper, is illustrated during the year 2889. Here, the central character of the story, children, he is Earth Herald. Okay. He is the managing editor, children. Okay. Now, we will see here. The year is 2889. The date 25th July. And the place is office block of the managing editor of Earth Herald, the world's largest newspaper. In this futuristic story written in 1889, the writer describes how he visualized the world 1000 years later, a world of technological advancement where newspapers are not printed but spoken. Here, children, the author, he has envisioned the futuristic world. Futuristic world, after 1000 years, how the world will be, how the world will differ, what all the developments will happen. It is just imagination, children, but no, you can't say it is imagination. Many things of this lesson, it has come true. See, he has written this lesson in 1889, nearly 30 years before 31 years before the lesson was written. But even then, children, as you read the lesson, you will see that many things has come true. To the present, many things has come true. So the author, he has in this futuristic story, he narrates the future situation of the world, how the world will be in future. He visualizes the world after 1000 years. See, he says, a world of technology advancements where newspaper are not printed but spoken. Even now, children, newspaper where you Google it up, children, certain part of the newspaper, it's not printed, it is spoken, isn't it? So as you read, children, you will come to know that what the author has predicted, it is true. So there is possibilities after 1000 years world to change to what he has said. Read the following expert for a glimpse of this future world. That morning, Francis Bennett awoke in rather a bad temperature. This was 8 days since his wife had been in France, and he was feeling a little lonely. Francis Bennett, no children, he is a major character in this story. Okay, one particular morning he woke up with bad temper. Bad temper, na, he was in a bad mood. Why? In the sense, his wife, no, she left him. She went to France, leaving him. And past 8 days, she has not returned, and this man was left alone in his house. So that made him to feel angry. As soon as he awoke, Francis Bennett switched on his phonotelephone, whose wires led to the house of owned in the Champs Elysees. Champs Elysees, what do you mean by Champs Elysees, children? It is prestigious place in Paris. Okay, and phonotelephone in the sense where you can visualize and speak to a person. See, now in WhatsApp, don't we see and talk, no children? Any of our relatives who is far away from us, to any corner of the world, wherever they are, don't we see and talk to them? Isn't it? That's what he has predicted. This author has predicted 30 years before, but to the present we could see it. See in the picture here in the story, Franz Bennett, when he switched on his phonotelephone, a telephone where you can see and talk to a person, both audio and video together you can do it. That is known as phonotelephone. So he sees his wife, see, she says hi. No, by that he is very happy. After seeing and talking to his wife, he really feels happy. The telephone completed by the telephote is another of our time's conquest. Though the transmission of speech by the electric current was already very old, it was only since yesterday that vision could also be transmitted. Children, see, talking to anyone else, that is old system. Okay, for telephone speech is an old system, but seeing to any person, visualizing a person and speaking is something a new discovery. Clear? That's what author Nuchiren, he has predicted the development of technology. A valuable discovery, and Francis Bennett was by no means the only one to bless its inventor when, in spite of the enormous distance between them, he saw his wife appear in the telephotic mirror. Francis, dear Francis. See, Francis Bennett, he was very happy and he blessed the inventor, the one who has found out this telephotic, children, telephotic in the sense where you could see and speak to a person. He really blessed the inventor. He is amazed, thinking that what a nice invention it has been done. How far this technology has improved. Technology has improved to the extreme. It has improved. Why he feels this now? When he was really vexed, when he feel like seeing his wife, he is able to see. Though his wife is miles away from him, he is able to see and talk to his wife. That made him much happy. His name, spoken by that sweet voice, gave a happier turn to Francis Bennett's mood. He quickly jumped out of bed and went into his mechanized dressing room. The moment he heard his wife's voice, his wife's sweet voice, he was so happy that it gave him a boost to his body. His mind was relaxed. He had strength to his body, where in that happiness, he quickly jumped from his bed and he went inside his mechanized dressing room. What do you mean by mechanized dressing room? We'll see. 2 minutes later, without needing the help of a valet in the sense personal male attendant, okay, the machine disported him, washed, shaved, shot, dressed and buttoned from top to toe on the threshold of his office. The day's work was going to begin. Here, children, mechanized dressing room in the sense there is no need for you to take your assistant to help you. Over there, the machine itself, it will wash you, it will bath you, it will wipe you, it will dress you, shave you, button you, put your shoes, lace, everything, the machine will do it. So within 2 minutes, Francis Bennett, he was ready to his work and his work was about to begin. Francis Bennett went on into the reporter's room. His 1500 reporters, placed before an equal number of telephones, were passing on to the subscribers the news which had come in during the night from the four quarters of the earth. Now, when he went to his reporter's room, no children, in that reporter's room, 1500 reporters, they were working. They were collecting the news from the four quarters of the earth. In addition to his telephone, each reporter has in front of him a series of commutators which allow him to get into communication with this or that telephonic lines. Now this Francis Bennett Nuchiren, he went inside his telephonic room. He got information from the reporters, and he collected all the important information from the reporters. He collected. This allowed him to get into communication with telephone lines. With important information, Francis Bennett, he was able to communicate with his telephonic lines. He is able to communicate. Thus, the subscribers have not only the story but the sight of these events. Yes, now the subscribers, no children, the subscribers, they don't have only the story to say, they even have the sight. Okay, they even have the sight to narrate him. Francis Bennett questioned one of the 10 astronomical reporters. Children, here, see, Francis Bennett, he has 1500 reporters he has. With each and every reporter, he tried to collect information that is, during night from the four quarters of the earth, from all round the earth, he tried to collect the informations. And out of that important informations alone, he selected to talk to the people. Because Francis Bennett is running newspaper, isn't it, children? So he wished to narrate the information in his newspaper. Every day night, no children, Francis Bennett, he used to collect the information from the reporters, and next morning that is published. Thus, the subscribers have not only the story but the sight of these events. Yes, the events, no children, they don't only say the story, they go along with the sight. Now, Francis Bennett questioned one of the 10 astronomical reporters, a service which was growing because of the recent discoveries in the stellar world. Now, Francis Bennett Nuchiren, he questioned out of 1 reporter, which means out of 100 reporters, 10 reporters he used to question them, he used to get important information, and this is how he develops his newspaper. Well, Cash, what have you got? Now, from one of the well-reputed reporter, he is asking, his name is Cash, and he is asking him, what information do you have, Cash? Photo telegrams from Mercury, Venus and Mars, sir, he says. Cash says, sir, I have photo telegrams from planets like Mercury, Venus and Mars. I have got it, photo telegram. What do you mean by photo telegram, children? A telegram transmission including images. Okay. Interesting. And Jupiter. And now, Francis Bennett is asking, it's very interesting. What about the Jupiter planet, he's asking. Nothing so far. We haven't been able to understand the signals the Jovians make. Perhaps our haven't reached them. So, this Cash, he says, sir, from Jupiter we couldn't get any information. I hope the signals what we have sent from the Earth, it would have not reached to the Jovians. Jovians, to the Jupiter planet, it would have not reached. The signal what was sent from the Earth, it would have, from satellite they have sent some signals, children. Those signal, it has not reached to the Jupiter planet. Aren't you getting some result from the moon at any rate? Not yet, Mr. Bennett. No, he's asking, did you get any information from the moon? No, he's asking. Children, see this all, you could see his room. See, this is his reporters room, children. From this reporters room only, Francis Bennett is trying to collect information from various reporters. Is trying to collect information. Clear? You could see this in your book, children. In page number 154, you could see this page. Okay, now coming back to the lesson. He is asking, don't you get any information from the moon? Now Cash, he says, no sir, I didn't get. Well, this time you can't blame optical science. The moon is 600 times nearer than Mars, and yet our correspondence service is in regular operation with Mars. It can't be telescope we need. So he says, Cash says, sir, we cannot blame the moon, sir, because no, the moon is 600 times nearer than the Mars. No, moon is too near to the earth. Comparing to the Mars, moon is too nearer to the earth. And no, it cannot be telescoped. It is very difficult to do it, sir. But anyways, our service is continuing it, he says. No, it's the inhabitant, Corley replied. This Corley, he is another reporter, children. Corley says it is inhabitant. Inhabitant na person or animal lives. You dare tell me that the moon is uninhabitant? No. No, Francis Bennett, he says, how could you say that moon is inhabitant? Actually, we have learned that, no, children, in moon, life is survivable. That's what we have learned, isn't it? But not that much, to a certain extent. Certain people, life is survivable in moon. On the face, it turns towards us at any rate. Mr. Bennett, who knows whether on the other side, they are a very simple method of finding. Now, Mr. Bennett says, what is the reaction of the other side? See, one side of the moon, it's facing us. But what is the other side happening? No, he says we should find out what is the other side of the moon. And that is to turn the moon round. And that very day, the scientists of the Bennett factory started working out some mechanical means of turning our satellite right round. No, he said, this reporter, no, he said, only way is we should turn the moon, he said. Now, turning the moon, what happened? All these reporters, no, children, in this reporting room, in this planetarian room, they started working out how to turn the satellites. Okay. On the whole, Francis Bennett had reason to be satisfied. One of the Earth Herald's astronomers had just determined the element of new planet Gandhini. See, one of the astronomer, that is Herald, Earth Herald astronomer, children, he has determined the element of new planet. He has found out the planet, there is a new planet Gandhini. In planet, children, one new planet, they have found out one new planet. That new planet name is Gandhini. Now, how far is this planet from the earth? In the sense, we'll see. See, it is a distance of 1, 10, 100,000, 10,000 lakhs, 10 lakhs. No, it goes in trillions, children. Okay. Meters and 7 decimeters, that this planet describes its orbit round the sun in 572 years, 194 days, 12 hours, 43 minutes, 9.8 seconds. Francis Bennett was delighted with such precision. No, where is this planet? How far is this planet? Distance, when this reporters, they gave the distance, no, children, that is the distance of the Gandhini. People, they are unaware, children. People, they doesn't know that there is a planet found in a solar system. There is a planet found named as Gandhini. People were unaware. Now, when Francis Bennett, when he came to know that there is a planet far away from the earth, no, he felt this planet, people should know this planet. He was much delighted. How far it is from the sun? Round the sun is this planet, it takes how many years? 572 years, 194 days, 12 hours, 43 minutes, 98 seconds it takes to go round the sun. Okay, that much far this planet is. Now, Francis Bennett was delighted, no, with surprise. He was very happy because he wished to publish this news in the newspaper where he wants his newspaper to be the topper one. Good, he exclaimed, hurry up and tell the reportage service about it. You know what a passion the public has for this astronomical questions. I am anxious for the news to appear into today's issue. Now, Francis Bennett, no, he says his reporter, be fast, make it faster. People are, they'll be urged to read this news. The very next day, the news should be published. I want this issue by today itself. I want it should be appear in our newspaper by today. It should appear, and is asking the entire information of the planet. The next room, a broad gallery about a quarter of mile long, was devoted to publicity. And it well may be imagined what the publicity for such a journal as the Earth Herald had to be. Now this Earth Herald, children, it's name of the newspaper, children. No, Francis Bennett, he says, when this information is published in the newspaper, no, obviously people will come to know how good is this newspaper, what all the news the newspaper gives, and how reporters work in this newspaper. They'll come to know it. It brought in a daily average of $3 million. They are gigantic signs reflected on the clouds, so large that they can be seen all over the whole country. From that gallery, 1,000 projectors were unscreeningly employed in sending to the clouds, on which they were reproduced in color this inordinate advertisements. Now, here, no, children, in this his next room, there is a broad gallery, children, where within a quarter mile, no, he could devote to publicity. And no, it will be imagine what the public for such journals, no, they will. That is, the author, he is happy thinking that how good people will think about my newspaper. It brought in a daily average of $3 million. It brought. See, his newspaper, no, it runs to such gain it goes. They are gigantic signs reflected on the clouds, so large that they can be seen all over the whole country. He could notice some signs. The planetarium, no, children, he could notice some gigantic signs where whole country can view. From the gallery, 1,000 projectors were unceasingly employed in sending to the clouds. He wants to project, to send some 1,000 projectors, children, from the earth. He wants to send some thousand projectors to the through the he wants to send to the clouds, to which they were reproduced in colors, which means, no, children, as many projectors, through projectors, whatever information he sends through projector, no, children, that will reach to the clouds. Okay. At that moment, the clock struck 12. The director of the Earth Herald left the hall and sat down in a rolling armchair. So as he was working over there in his room, no, the clock struck 12, and the director of the newspaper, that is Earth Herald, this is the name of the newspaper, children, he left the hall and he sat down in his rolling armchair. Why did he sat on this rolling armchair? We'll see. A few minutes he had reached his dining room hall a mile away at the far end of the office. Just within minutes, no, children, he sat in his rolling chair, and very soon he reached his dining hall. The table was laid and he took his place at it. Within reach of his hand was placed a series of taps, and before him was the curved surface of phono-telephote, on which appeared the dining room of his home in Paris. Mr. and Mrs. Bennet had arranged to have lunch at the same time. No, he went to his room through the rolling chair. No, children. He went to his room. Over there, he went near the tap. He washed without getting himself, children. Everything he did this sitting in his chair. After getting his hands washed, everything. No, there is a phonotelephone. Phonotelephone. I said, no, children, where you can talk and visualize a picture. That is phonotelephone. In his room, this phonotelephone was arranged, and no, his wife and Mr. Bennet both, they decided to have dinner at the same time. I mean, to have the lunch at the same time. Why? In the sense, so that they can visualize each other, they can talk and eat, no? So they decided to have the lunch at the same time. How will they talk, children? Wife is far away, but how will she talk? Through phonotelephone. Now, how do we talk with people, children? In WhatsApp, video calling. In video calling, don't we call our relatives, our near and dearer ones, no, children? The same way. See, children, this was predicted some 30 years back. But see, that has come true. That's what author says. Certain things, no, 50% it has come true. And the remaining 50%, as the years keep moving on, possibilities is there. Mr. and Mrs. Bennet has arranged to have lunch at the same time. Nothing could be more pleasant than to be face to face in spite of the distance, to see one another and talk by means of the phonotelephonic apparatus. Isn't it, children? Where your relatives are far away, where your near and dearer ones are far away, just imagine where you could see and talk to them through video calling, where you see and talk to them, how happy we feel, no, children? You cannot measure that to anything else, isn't it? So that happiness, he is looking forward, that happiness, seeing face to face and seeing and talking to them, that is really interesting. Like everybody else, see, Francis Bennet is with his lunch. Like everybody else in his circumstances nowadays, Francis Bennet, having abundant domestic cooking, is one of the subscribers of the Society for Supplying Food to Home, which distributes dishes of 1,000 types through a network of pneumatic tubes. Here, no, children, see, there is pneumatic. Francis Bennet, no, children, he doesn't cook his lunch or dinner all, but how does he get his lunch and dinner? In the sense, through pneumatic tubes. Pneumatic tubes, no, children, through distributors, no, these pneumatic tubes are arranged in a very rich family, children, where people are affordable to buy these pneumatic tubes. Very rich people, they are the subscribers of these pneumatic tubes, and whatever lunch, dish, dinner, whatever they want, children, where they order it, no, they will get through the tubes. Now see here, this is the pneumatic tube, children. See, this tube is attached to the dining table. Through the subscriber, whatever you wish to eat, no, children, the food comes through the tube. Children, this is all imagination. It is a prediction. Okay, you must remember that here author is describing the world to be after 1,000 years. That's what I said. No, certain thing has come true, certain yet to come. Possibilities is there, children. Possibilities to happen. Okay. This system is expensive, no doubt. See, this pneumatic tube system, children, it is very expensive. Only rich people can afford it. But the cooking is better. So, not without some regret, Francis Bennet was lunching in solitude. He was finishing his coffee when Mrs. Bennet, having got back home, appeared in the telephone screen. So obviously, no, children, this pneumatic tubes cooking, no, children, it's good, it's tasty to eat, and very rich people alone, they could afford this. Ordinary people, they cannot afford such type of food, no, they cannot afford. Being a very rich people, he could afford it. And Francis Bennet, no, he has finished his lunch and he was about to take his coffee. At that time, his wife appeared in the she appeared in the telephone screen. Okay. When he had finished his lunch, he went across to the window where his aero car was waiting. So after eating his lunch, no, he went to his window where his aero car is waiting. Aero car in the sense, children, see, we have seen car moving on the roads. Here aero car moves on air. Okay, it moves, it just flies like airplane. Where are we going, sir? Asked the aero coachman. Let's see, I have got time. Francis Bennett replied. Take me to my accumulator works at Niagara. Okay. Now he sat in the aero coach. Now this aero car he sat. This aero car coachman, no, that is a driver. He doesn't know how to, where to go. He's asking, sir, where to go? He says, let me see. Anyways, no, I have got time. Then he asked him, take me to Niagara. He has some work over there, so he asked him to take him there. The aero car shot across space at a speed of about 400 miles an hour. You know how this aero car, it moves, right? It shot across the space. It moved across the space about 400 miles an hour. It moved 400 miles, children. The speed of aero car, you see, 400 miles. It could travel for an hour. Below him were spread out the towns with the moving pavement which carried the wayfarer along the streets, and the countryside covered as though by an immense spider's web, by the network of electric wire. Here, no, Francis Bennett from his aero car, he just bent down to see the city. How is the city, the streets, everything he could bend down and see. And he could see some wires running like spider's web. Why is calling the wires to run like a spider's web, children? Electric wires, those are all electric wires. Okay, where you see from above, from the sky, where you see below the city, no, children, all the wires, it will be seem to be like spider's web. Now, what are those wires, children? Those wires are electric wires. See, aero car. See, this is only aero car, children. In his aero car, he is moving. Clear? He is moving to Niagara. See, children, aero car. You could see. See, I am making it big. This is aero car. Okay. Okay. Within half an hour, Francis Bennett has reached his works at Niagara, where, after using the force of the cataracts to produce energy, he sold or hired it out to the consumers. Now, after finishing his work, no, children, in Niagara, what work he had, he has completed the work, and after using his cataracts, to produce energy, children, as he was flying about, he could see Francis Bennett, children, as he was flying in this aero car, he saw the force of water, and he thought that he could produce energy, and that, no, children, he sold or hired it out to the consumers. This power energy, no, children, he sold. He would have either sold or he would have left it for rent. Okay. Then he returned by way of Philadelphia, Boston and New York to Centropolis, where his aero car put him down about 5 o'clock. So after finishing the work, actually what he did, no, children, Francis Bennett, he reached to the Niagara. He reached. As he was flying above the sky, he saw this water bodies. He saw, this waterfalls, everything. Vast area of water. Seeing that, he thought energy could be produced through this, and he sold that energy to the consumers. He might have sold it or he might have rented. Now, after this work gets over, he returned by the way of Philadelphia. From Philadelphia to Boston, and then New York, and then to Centropolis. All this, within 5 hours, he reached all this distance. The waiting room of the Earth Herald was crowded. A careful lookout was being kept for Francis Bennett to return for the daily audience he gave to his petitioners. Among their different proposals, he had to make a choice, reject the bad one, look into the doubtful ones, and welcome the good ones. No, he came to his room after his work gets over. He came to his waiting room of the Earth Herald. No, people were crowded over there. And Francis Benedict Nochuren, he has to return to the daily audience for his petitioners, no daily audience he should reach and get the information from them. And those proposals, Nochuren, what all the proposals they kept, he has to choose the best one. All the bad, unwanted proposals, all he rejected. Doubtful ones also, no, he kept aside. The good proposals he welcomed. Proposal in the sense ideas, the people who give good idea, no children, he welcomed the good idea and he tried to consider those good ideas. He soon got rid of those who had only useless or impracticable schemes. A few of the other received a better welcome, and foremost among them was a young man whose broad brow indicated a high degree of intelligence. So some of them, no children, he rejected some schemes, all doubtful schemes, everything he rejected. The good schemes alone, he welcomed all the good schemes. Among these good schemes, no, some people they gave good ideas. Among them, a young man whose brow, no children, brow in the sense eyebrow, he had a very broad eyebrow. His ideas were really intelligent. The idea what he gave to Francis Benedict, no, it was intelligent, and he welcomed his idea. Now let us see what idea he gave. Sir, he began, though the number of elements used to be estimated as 75, it has now been reduced to 3, as no doubt you are aware. No, he said, sir, in physics, no children, you would have read elements as 75 elements you would have read. Now he says, sir, though the elements are 75, now these elements are reduced to 3. Okay, perfectly, Francis. Benedict, he replied, well, sir, I am on the point to reduce the 3 to 1. If I don't run out of money, I'll have succeeded in 3 weeks. Now, this intelligent man, he says, sir, I could reduce this 3 element to 1 element. The only problem is I don't have money, sir. I'm in need of money. If I had money, I could have succeeded this in 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks, I could do it. And then, sir, I shall really have discovered the absolute and the result of that discovery. He says, no, sir, had I money, no, sir, I would have discovered some absolute, some solid, great thing I would have discovered, sir. Now, Francis Benedict is asking, what do you mean to say? It will be to make the creation of all forms of matter easy. Stone, wood, metal, fibrin. No, he says, sir, through all matter, no, sir, creation I could made it. I could make creation easy from stone, wood, metal, fibrin. Children, fibrin in the sense through blood, where our blood gets clot, no, children, it is said to be fibrin. Where our blood goes thick, it is fibrin. Are you saying you are going to be able to construct a human being? Completely, the one thing missing will be the soul. No, now Francis Benedict, he could judge what the man is saying. He asked, Francis Benedict asked, are you saying that you could make a human being? You could construct, you could make a human being. What is he talking about, children? Can anyone make a live human being? Yes, he means to talk about robots. Okay. Now, this reporter says, yes, sir. Only thing is, it will not have soul. Obviously, robots, they don't have soul, children. It runs with electricity, it runs. Okay. Machines, it is made up of machines and it runs with electricity. Francis Benedict assigned the young fellow to the scientific editorial department. Now, Francis Benedict, he took this young fellow to the scientific room. He has a scientific editorial department. No, he took him to the department of his journal department he took. A second inventor, using as a basis some old experiment that dated from the 19th century, had the idea of moving a whole city in a single block. He suggested as a demonstration the town of Saf, situated 15 miles from the sea. Now, the another inventor, the second inventor, he has an idea of experimenting that 19th century. He had an idea What his idea is, he wished to move a whole city in a single block, children. That entire city he wished to move in a single block. He suggested as a demonstration the town of Saf, situated 15 miles from the sea. After conveying it on rails down to the shore, he would transform it into a seaside resort. Francis Bennett, attracted by his project, agreed to take a half share in it. Now, what he said, no, this second reporter, he said, sir, this town Saf, no, he wished to, it is far away from sea, it is 15 miles far away from sea. He wished to bring that city like a resort. He wished to keep it aside the sea. That is, the reporter says that he could move that entire city near the shore. When you move that entire city near the shore, then what will happen? It will become a resort. Then imagine, children, how popular that city will go. Any city that is near to seashore, it will become very popular. So Francis Bennett, he attaches, he was attracted by the project and he agreed half a share from that project. Who agreed half share from the project? Francis Bennett. Francis Bennett said, the profit what you get now from that half a share, you must give it to me. That is 50-50%. He agreed. The proposals heard and dealt with, Francis Bennett went to stretch himself out in an easy chair in the audition room. Now, after the proposal heard, children, Francis Bennett, he went to his audition room. He stretched himself in his easy chair. Easy chair in the sense, in a relaxing chair, he stretched himself. Then, pressing a button, he was put into communication with the central concert. After so busy a day, what charm he found in the works of our greatest master, based on the series of delicious harmonic algebraic formula. During his meal, phonotelephonic communication had been set up with Paris. So after his communication with all the reporters get over, now children, he wished to relax himself. He sat in his easy chair. He pressed the button for the phonotelephonic communication. It was set up with Paris. Now, who is there in Paris, children? His wife is there in Paris. He wished to talk to his wife. No, he feels that he has done much work. He feels to relax now. So, his only relaxation is talking to his wife. He feels happy to talk to his wife, children. When do you expect to get back to Centropolis, dear? Edith. Children, this Edith is Francis Bennett's wife. Okay. Ask Francis Bennett. I am going to start this moment. Now, Francis Bennett is asking to his wife, Edith, when are you going to reach Centropolis and when are you going to move from there? She says that she is moving. The very moment she is going to start. By tube or aero train? By tube. Then you will be here at 11:59 this evening, Paris time. He is asking, how are you going to come? Are you going to come from, you are going to come by aero train or by tubes? She says she'll come by tubes. Children, now what is this tubes, children? By tubes in the sense, the tubes that run under the ocean. Okay. Here she says coming by aero train, rather than aero train, if she comes by tube, no, very soon, still more early she will reach Centropolis. Okay. Then he says, okay, if you are coming by tube in the sense, then 11:59 of Paris time, you will reach Centropolis. Okay. Goodbye then, and above all, done miss the tube. No, he says, okay, goodbye. Let me meet you after reaching. These submarine tubes by which one travels from Paris in 295 minutes are certainly much preferable to the aero train, which only manages 600 miles an hour. Okay, children, the submarine tubes, children, by which one travel Paris 295 minutes it takes. And certainly it's preferable the same way you go in air train, it will manage with 600 miles an hour. Air train is faster, children. The same time it takes in little early you reach if you go in submarine tubes. Francis Bennett, very tired after so very full a day, decided to take a bath before going to bed. There was always a bath already in the office. He touched the button, a rumbling sound began, got louder, increased. Then one of the doors opened and the bath appeared gliding along on its rails. Okay, now Francis Bennett, no, he was much tired the entire day. He had a tight schedule. He had. Now he wished to take bath and relax himself before his wife could turn up. He wished to relax himself. So he presses the button. The moment he presses the button, no, children, water rumbles from the shower, and no, he starts taking bath. Yes, children, hope the lesson is understandable. I do want you to read the lesson, children. This lesson is not a story. You have to read the lesson, children. For sure, you have to read the lesson. After my explanation part, you have to read the lesson line by line. You have to concentrate, children. Do read the lesson for your better understanding. Meet you in the next class, children. Until then, bye.